What's up, people? I'm your host, Phoenix.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
The past couple weeks, you have denied all of my ideas. You start first. Why is this? I'm a host too. I think I deserve a little bit of spotlight.
That's true. Do you want to start it?
Yeah, let me start this.
Okay, go ahead.
What's up, people? I'm one of your hosts, Phoenix.
And I'm your host, Ty. Wait. Listen, just because you're starting it doesn't change. You're still Titan.
Oh.
I'm still Phoenix. And that's why I do it. And so our topic of the day is going to be the top 10 old school video games. And since old school is a relative term, we decided to have these parameters. It's going to be between 1980 and 2005. We won't use multiple games. So if there's like, let's say Mario Brothers, there's multiple Mario Brothers, we'll only pick one out of that group. And that's what we're going to go with. All right, Titan, let's start with your number 10.
All right, so for my number 10, I'm going way back to 1981 with Galaga. The game is super simplistic, but it is still part of American history of gaming, and it's still a good game.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to go with Tetris in 1984.
Okay.
My first forte into Tetris was actually on the original Game Boy, black and white.
Okay.
And my mother and I used to go back and forth with our top score. And if you don't know what Tetris is a puzzle game where you put blocks together and try to fit them into the frame. And I believe, personally, that Tetris was the foundation for all the puzzle games that we have today. All right, so what's your number 9?
All right, so sticking with kind of like feeding off of you at Tetris, I'm going to go with Pac-Man The Collection.
Nice.
So that was a game that I originally played on Game Boy every single night of my life. Like, because there was so many different versions of Pac-Man that you could play, including Tetris. Tetris was actually a game that was including in that, and I played every single one of those like multiple times every night.
Nice.
It was a great experience. All right, so what about your number 9?
All right, so my number 9 is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in 1992.
Okay.
That's actually my very first Sonic because for Christmas I got a Sega Genesis and it came with the system. And so I loved Sonic back in the day. And the cool thing about it was always this war between Mario and Sonic, which one was better. And during that time it was like, oh, Sonic is so much faster, so it's so much better. Overall, Mario is still king, but I love Sonic too.
Yep, that's pretty good.
So how about your number 8?
All right, my number 8, I'm going to go with Pitfall: The Lost Expedition in 2004.
Ah, Pitfall.
It's a newer game, but Pitfall has been around for a lot longer than 2004.
Right.
Since we're only picking one, that is my favorite out of all of them, so I'll have to go with that one.
Okay, nice. All right, so my number 8 is going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, 1989. I played so much in the arcades, and it was even better when it hit home console. So it was a 4-player beat 'em up side-scrolling game.
Okay.
Did you ever play it?
No, I don't think I did.
Well, recently they had kind of a sequel, I guess you would say, called Shredder's Revenge. I played it on Game Pass with my son. Extremely fun. Loved it.
Okay.
All right, so what's your number 7?
All right, my number 7 is Ratchet and Clank from 2002. This was a game that me and my brother played religiously, and it's fun every single time I play it. Now, today I can't remember anything about it, but I still remember that it was fun playing.
That nostalgia. So my number 7 is going to be 007 GoldenEye in 1997.
Nice.
The cool thing about then the 64, if you remember, had 4 ports.
Yeah.
So you could actually have 4 players as long as you had 4 controllers. And so that was one of the party games that we would have sleepovers and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
And we would just kill each other all night long. Such a fun game.
The original Call of Duty.
Right, exactly. Actually, they just did some, remakes, I guess? Not remakes, I guess it would be like upscaled versions of them that they put on Game Pass and the Nintendo Switch.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out for sure. Speaking about party games, I'm going to have to go with Mortal Kombat 4. This was a game that I always played at parties. I would fight people all night long. Even though I've sucked at the game, I always have an advantage because I am completely random. I never let people know my next move.
Right.
So no one could ever beat me.
I love that. So my number 6 is going to be Street Fighter 2 Turbo in 1992. Again, another game that I played a lot in arcades, but playing at home against friends and enjoying it. I was a big Ryu fan.
Yeah.
So love Street Fighter 2.
Okay. You know, I've never actually been to an arcade to play arcade games.
Really?
It was a little bit before my time.
Right.
So I never got to experience that.
Yeah, it definitely was an amazing experience, a great childhood with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we on now? So this will be your number 5, right?
Number 5. I'm going to have to go keep it, 2004 with Spider-Man 2.
Ah, gotcha. Yes.
That game. I actually recently bought that again.
Did you?
Yes, because I'm like the nostalgic. After I played the new Spider-Man game from Insomniac Games, it made me want to go back to that and experience it again. And it's a terrible game, but, but for the time, it was so amazing to play Spider-Man, because that was actually my first Spider-Man game that I played. And it was so amazing to be able to like feel like I actually was Spider-Man. Right. It was just a beautiful game.
That is cool. All right, so we're gonna go with my number 5, which is Super Mario Brothers World in 1990. Oh. This was a Super Nintendo game, and to me, it's always been my favorite. I always go back to that one and play it whenever I get a chance. Whenever Nintendo does allow us to buy retro games, I would definitely play it. It was the introduction to Yoshi, and so many secret boards, so many cool things to find, new power-ups. Yeah, I love that game. Speaking of Mario Brothers, did you ever watch the live-action Mario Brothers from the 90s?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
Really?
It was absolutely horrible. Yeah, King Koopa was just a random guy in a suit with cornrows.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
I'm surprised they never did one for like Crash Bandicoot. Did you ever play Crash?
A little bit, not too much though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do one. That would probably be interesting.
I am Dr. Neocortex, and you have fallen right into my trap. And now that I have you right where I want you, I will use my newest doomsday device to blast you out of existence and take over the world.
Curse you, Crash Bandicoot! All right, so what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is going to be 007 GoldenEye.
Hey, yeah.
N64. This was another game that me and my brother, we would just sit there and play for hours. And it's actually how I learned to cheat. It was the first game that I learned that if I looked at his screen, I knew exactly where he was. That caused so many arguments, but it was an amazing game. To this day, it still meets standards.
Oh yeah, such a great game. So my number 4 is going to be Mortal Kombat 2 in 1993.
Okay.
Now, of course, when Mortal Kombat came out, the original, so much controversy. I had never seen, as a kid, the government come on TV and talk about a video game. Like, that was my first time seeing it, and it was like, wow, like we were all talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
But actually, I never owned the first Mortal Kombat. I got the second one. And I absolutely loved it. I have sleepovers, and we would just fight. And much like you, Scorpion was my number 1, and Raiden was my number 2. And I would tear them up back and forth. So absolutely love that game.
Yeah, Sub-Zero was always my character.
Well, of course, it had to be Sub-Zero. Okay, so now we're on to your number 3.
All right, so my number 3 is going to be Sonic for the Nintendo 64.
Okay, gotcha.
That was a game, I haven't played it in many years, but it was my first Sonic game, and it was my introduction, and I loved it.
Yeah, usually your introduction to a game is usually like one of your favorites.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely with you there.
Yep. All right, so what would be your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is going to be Resident Evil 2 1998.
Oh.
Now, I love Resident Evil. I fell in love. That was like my entry point into the horror genre.
Okay.
Right? But Resident Evil 2, a friend of mine, and we would go to each other's houses, and we would actually take turns passing controller back and forth, trying to figure out the puzzles, trying to work our way through. And Resident Evil 2 just took everything that was in one and just made it even better in the second one.
Yeah.
Memorable characters, Claire Redfield and Leon S. Kennedy. Love the game. All right, so that's my number 3. So what's your number 2?
All right, my number 2 is going to be Super Mario 64.
Yes.
It seems like most of the games that I enjoyed as a kid was in the Nintendo 64.
Right.
But this was notably one that actually challenged me a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It was really surprisingly difficult.
I think that one actually set the standard for 3D platforming.
Really?
Yes.
It was definitely a beautiful game too.
Yes, it was.
It was fun altogether.
Gotcha. All right, so my number 2 is actually going to be KOTOR, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That was 2003. And like I told you in one of our previous videos, my introduction really into RPGs was Oblivion, but Knights of the Old Republic was like my second one. I actually went back and played it, and it was amazing. I was so upset that I never played it, or I didn't play it prior to that, but it's such a good game, great role-playing game. As a matter of fact, they have a remake that Sony's actually working on right now.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited for that then.
All right, so here we go, our number 1s. So what is yours?
All right, sticking with the Nintendo 64, it's going to be Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree with that one.
Yes, it was the peak gaming for me. And even to this day, I would love to just pick that game up and just play it all over again. I loved it. I love that game.
Gotcha. All right, so my number 1 is not going to be on anybody's number 1 list, but people who know me, they know why this is my number 1. But my number 1 is WWF No Mercy for the N64 2000.
Okay.
Oh my God, I played that game so much. And shout out to Frank, you know who you are. We used to take the game up to family functions, and we would have cousins and uncles and everybody like, hey, let's battle you. And we had created characters that were just unstoppable, and we would just destroy them. I remember I let a friend to break a controller. We always had belt matches. And so you could go into someone's creative character and see what their weaknesses were. So after I had beat everybody like 20 times, it was like, you go outside and I want to look at something. I was like, okay, sure. So he goes look through my profile. And when I come back, he's like, okay, here it is. If you beat me, I can never challenge for the title ever again. So he gets a high flyer, because that was one of the types you could have, and I just beat him down. And he took his controller, went outside, slung it around on the ground, broke it, and then took an axe to it.
Oh my gosh.
My shining moment.
That is funny. That is great.
Well, folks, that's all we have for you today. Don't forget that we will be back on Friday mornings. We'll be there. You be there.